They live where you vacation. The University of Miami, next stop on our ACC football road trip. The sun is shining, as always, palm trees are plenty, and there is football to be played in sunny South Florida. But guys, campus is beautiful and all, but this is the spot. Hard Rock Stadium, 4 weeks will be rocking as the Canes host Notre Dame. But first, it's time for a fall camp check-in here on ACC Network. Welcome inside the Carroll Sophomore Indoor Practice Facility where the magic happens on the campus at the U down here in Coral Gables. Day 5 of fall camp for the Miami Hurricanes as our ACC football road trip rolls on. Stop number 6 on our tour. I am Taylor Tannenbaum, playing host today in a very, very loud building. As you can see, the Canes are juiced to be back on the field. Roddy Jones, Eric McLean, Andrea Adelson with me. I first want to start with vibe. If you guys could even hear me at this point, how would you measure the vibe in here compared to when we maybe were here a couple of years ago under Mario Cristobal when he first started?
The vibe's energetic. I mean, there's a buzz around this program, and I think it stems from the fact that they know that they've been building, and they know that this team is really primed to take a step. So, Emac, the vibes here, I would say, are immaculate, as you would expect in South Florida.
Immaculate vibes, big-time vibes. And I think that comes with knowing, like you just said there, they know they're good. They know they're ready to take this next step. And there's some confidence within that. And I think it's really important just to see from a team perspective today as we watch practice, how does that translate to the field? What do they look like in a team setting when they're going 7-on-7 or 1-on-1s or 11-on-11? Does that still translate? Does that still make it to the practice field?
Well, even talking to Miami's athletic director, Dan Radakovich, earlier, he was telling me, I did get the scoop already. Hey, we're here to report. You get some info, right? He was telling me that he senses a different comfort level with Mario in their conversations because it's year 4. He knows what has to be done. The foundation and the culture have been built here. Now it's time to get to work.
I think the other thing that it's not really a big secret, but better people, bigger people beat not better people. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of skill. There's a lot of size. And just strictly from, we've been here 30 minutes and looking around,
right.
Miami is in a great place physically. And it's just, they're going to win a lot of football games.
Vibes are high down here in Coral Gables. And a lot of those stars you just mentioned will be joining us here on set to talk Canes football and what's been going on throughout fall camp. Starting, of course, with the man at the top in head coach Mario Cristobal, quarterback Carson Beck, new man in town under center. What's he have to say about the beginning of fall camp? Francis Mauigoa as well, CC, and NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Llamas going to join us. He's a big Canes fan, grew up in Miami, so we're going to play a couple of games with him based on past former Hurricanes, see how it shapes up. All right, biggest storyline heading into 2025 is what, Andrea?
What has to be Carson Beck and how he does for Miami. We all saw what Cam Ward did for this offense a year ago. Now what is Carson Beck going to do? I think there's a couple of key differences now this year. Yes, he's coming off of the injury, but at Georgia last year, I would say the offensive line not as strong as what he is going to have right now at Miami. And in talking to Mario Cristobal, the feeling he has about what this offensive line can do is super high, and I think having that type of line is going to protect him more than he did a year ago. And I think this receiver group, even though it's unproven, is going to be better than the one he had a year ago. So many drops that plagued that Georgia offense, right? So when you look at what happened last year at Georgia, some people may say, well, wait a minute, what happened? He dropped off a little bit. You have to look at the complete and total picture.
Amen.
It wasn't just Carson Beck. The offensive line ahead of him and the receivers not as great. And so now I think he has the potential to be that guy who is talked about as a potential top #1 pick based on what he does here and in this offense.
I think that's a great history lesson and a reminder for everybody that it wasn't Georgia's bad season was not because of just Carson Beck. There were a ton of drops, maybe one of the most in all of
Second most
FBS.
in FBS.
Second most. I mean, what are we talking about? That's a huge deal for momentum, for accuracy, for juice and feeling good. If you got a wide open guy and he drops it, that changes everything. But to me, biggest storyline is how can Miami take that next step? Obviously, Carson Beck, a huge piece of that puzzle, but a bigger piece of the puzzle, literally and physically, I think, is the offensive and defensive line. Those lines of scrimmage are now ready to be a Mario Cristobal type team. Physicality, great size. Lean on me. I want the game to come on my shoulders, and for me to be able to take that next step, I think it's with both the lines of scrimmage.
Because of the two things that you guys just said, Carson Beck, and what does Miami have to do to take the next step with that offensive line? My biggest storyline is it's time.
Yeah.
It's time that Miami takes that step. It's time that you make an ACC championship game, and it's time that you make a college football playoff appearance. Andrew, you mentioned what Carson Beck did last year. Well, let's look at what he did 2 years ago when he had Brock Bowers and he had Ladd McConkey and he had a really good Dominic Lovett. He got through for 3,900 yards and was looked at as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. The talent level on this Miami offense is going to be closer to that. Yeah. And you talk about the offensive line. When you're a college football playoff team, you got to have great quarterback play, but you got to be great on the lines of scrimmage. And the way that you do that to that level is recruiting and development, and Miami certainly has done that.
Yeah. And we've been standing next to the offensive and defensive lines this morning.
Feel right
gigantic.
Feel good.
You feel at home. I feel at home too, because that's a line that can move some people for a guy like me to slide through.
Exactly. All right, speaking of some of these big storylines, let's take a look back at the offseason. In case you missed it, we've already kind of noted what Andrea Adelson just mentioned, the addition of Carson Beck transferring from Georgia through the portal. He set numerous records in Athens, follows in the footsteps, of course, of #1 overall pick and Heisman finalist Cam Ward. Defense hopes to bounce back under new coordinator Corey Heatherman. He'll have talent to work with, including Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesdor, who combined for 9 sacks last year. And the Canes begin the season in the spotlight with a season opener against those Golden Domers in Notre Dame Sunday, August 31st, down here in Miami. Year 4 at the helm of his alma mater, Coach Mario Cristobal. Great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for having us, as always. Year 4 for you, as I just noted. What are your emotions that you feel when fall camp finally starts? You're a football guy at heart.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here, first and foremost. Certainly appreciate you guys and everything you do. For us, I mean, camp it's highly anticipated because of the work done behind the scenes and throughout the course of not only this year, but the past couple of years. And so for us, everybody's eager. Everybody's eager to get out there and just flat out get after it and compete and learn and find out really what are we? What's our identity? You know, how can we put the best pieces together? How can we develop our guys best? How can we connect best? So it's like for everybody in the country, it's an awesome time of year.
Coach, you're a process-oriented guy. You're about the work, and this time of year I feel like is where you shine. But what's the message to your team this camp as opposed to maybe previous years?
Well, the message is always going to be the same. At this time of year, you don't want to look too far ahead. You know, everyone knows we have some unbelievable opportunities in late August and September. But right now the focus has to be on us, on mastering our own systems, on getting in the best shape we could possibly get in, on finding out who can do what at a high level. And then again, if we have holes, how do we fill them best, and how do we prepare ourselves to have the best season we can? So a lot of energy, a lot of work, teaching our guys to work, teaching our guys how to use every ounce of every day before we come back to like reality and civilization, right? These couple of weeks are instrumental in what our season shapes out to be.
I love the way that you phrase that, because that's what this is. Fall camp is unlike anything else, because there's no school, there's no distractions, just ball. I'm reading and hearing guys sleeping here, doing their thing, which I reflect back on my time. And if you want to be great, that's what it takes, and that's what you have to put in. As you've evaluated these first couple of days, are you on track? Because you're a builder, right? You know, with the 3 or 5 wins, 7 wins, 10 wins, and now what's that next step? Does this team in the early processes have that DNA to take that next step?
It does, and it's something that's it's come on over time. I mean, the guys that have been here have left a great legacy, one of just being able to work hard and work together, knowing that it's not just going to happen. Having a 4th or 5th star by your name doesn't guarantee you anything except a practice time at 3:15, you know? That's all it does. So just overall, it's been a great start. And it's been a great start because they have taken it upon themselves to bring juice and energy every single day. And they've worked hard, they've competed, and it shows on film.
When we were in Charlotte, Carson Beck told me how excited he was to get back out on the practice field and actually practice because it had been so long. I know it's early, but what have you seen from him in terms of where he is with the offense and the chemistry that he's now developing with his teammates?
Yes, he's ahead of schedule, like we thought he would be. He's really smart, and he's played a lot of football, and he just didn't sit around while he rehabbed. I mean, he was in that film room at early hours and staying late, and his walkthrough regimen is elite. So when you have a guy like that that's done it, that's seen it, and then that invests mental reps like he does, you're going to have yourself a player that's ready to compete once the pads went on, and he has.
Coach, anybody would feel good. I think I'd feel pretty good behind the offensive line that you got, although I wouldn't be able to see very well. but Carson's got to feel great with that group. I mean, you got so much experience and obviously top-end talent. I mean, when you look at this group, what is the thing you're most proud of with the way this group has both come along over the course of your time here and where they are right now?
Probably the fact that they never take their foot off the gas as it relates to everything, as it relates to culture, number one. Like, they are always on top of things as it relates to them and their teammates. And then second of all, their approach, like when guys were taking days off, you have that little discretionary week where you're supposed to just relax and chill. Those guys are flying to different places and getting extra work with some of the O-line gurus out there. That has really helped our mentality. It's helped our DNA overall, and they're passing it on to the young guys who now, when you look at us, we have a lot of young offensive linemen that are ready to contribute as well and are going to be great players in their own right. So, again, those guys just bring so much to the table. I don't know where to start.
Coach, it feels, just to double down there, it feels like you've juiced the run game with a couple of pieces. You've got a leader that's been there, done that, on top of with this offensive line. You've built this team inside out, and that's how you win, and that's how you win at the highest level. Through that process, expectation-wise, seems like you're going to be leaning on the front and those running backs a lot.
I mean, we're always going to lean on those guys. We're always going to build our teams, from the inside out and with the guys up front. And I feel the same way about the defensive line. But I think you're absolutely right. We're going to lean on those guys, but when you watch us develop outside on the perimeter and the caliber of athlete that we brought out there, these guys have been very systematically trained to be able to make an impact now. So I think we'll be well balanced, but like we tell our guys, if we have to rush for 500 and score 10 points, or if we have to throw for 500 and score 50 points, whatever it takes to win, that's what we're going to do.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time. And I know you're stock full of talent on the offensive line, but he probably has a few more reps in him if you need him. If you do.
Look,
talked about it in Charlotte.
I have 2 IDs and 2 passports for you, okay?
Perfect. We're going to get that sorted out.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're actually, they got you at 19.
Don't ask him his name, though.
He's 19 years old from Little Havana, but we'll.
Junior college guy, little junior.
Yeah, I think it'll pass. No one will raise an eyebrow.
Not at all. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Last year, Canes caught lightning in a bottle with Cam Ward transferring in at QB. Can lightning strike the same place twice is the question with Carson Beck. We actually learned recently he has quite a bit in common with our coach, Mark Richt.
You were at Georgia, went to Miami. I was at Georgia, went to Miami. Like, the only difference is you got paid more than I did.
I don't know about that.
No, I think that's, if you go year by year, I think you got me by about $1 million.
Carson Beck is now in Coral Gables as the Miami quarterback after 2 productive seasons at Georgia.
This is a big game ball player for Mario Cristobal. It's a huge move for Miami.
He's got a chance to lead this team to the ACC championship game.
Fall camp practice number 5 for the new sheriff in town, Carson Beck. Speaking of Carson, our friend Wes Durham recently sat down with him at ACC kickoff. Here's a sneak preview as Beck discusses the impact Cam Ward had on his choice to play at Miami.
You watch a lot of football, not just your own career and your own team, but you're a student of the game in terms of watching other guys. Mm-hmm. How much did Cam Ward impact? Okay, this guy went in last year, had an unbelievable year, clearly was a culture builder for what they wanted to do. How much of Cam Ward's performance a year ago factored into Carson Beck being in Coral Gables?
Yeah, I mean, obviously his success is undeniable, right? Mm-hmm. You go back and you watch the film and what he was able to do and create on the offensive side of the ball for the U last year was honestly fun to watch, right? And obviously going back in and diving into it more in depth rather than just like kind of watching it on a surface level last year when I was still at Georgia. But being able now to like go in depth and know the offense and know the plays and know the calls and see like what he was doing out there, right? The freedom that, you know, he was given on the offensive end of the ball is, I mean, you can see why he was able to have so much success, right? He's such a talented, you know, guy. Obviously, I don't know him very well. I've met him a couple times, but yeah, that's definitely, you know, a factor and a point of kind of what led me to come down there.
That full interview actually will air right after the show here on ACC Network. Joining us now is Carson Beck, day 5 of fall camp for you. I want to start with how you're feeling. First and foremost, how you are feeling and what the process was like ramping back up to get back on the field with your guys.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, obviously I feel great being able to get out here with these guys, my teammates that, again, I was looking forward to this moment for so long, being here in January, not being able to throw, not being able to really work out or do anything. So, you know, that process, getting back into it, ramping back up to where I was full go 100% was a process, a journey, right? But again, it's all part of that rehab, and the training staff here is amazing and really helped that process become a lot easier for me. And then, you know, now we're out here 100%, so I feel good.
So that's physically. What about the mental journey? Because you get into a new offense, some of the same concepts are called different names. What's that been like, learning a new language in the Shannon Dawson offense?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that's a huge part of coming into a new system, new coach, new players, building that chemistry, right? I played a lot of football, right? But I was in the same system for 5 years, right? I knew that system like the back of my hand. Whenever we transferred over from Coach Munkin to Coach Bobo at Georgia, it was a seamless switch. We tried to keep a lot of the same stuff, the same lingo. But now in a new offense, new scheme, new words, right? There's a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of meetings, a lot of watching film from last year and just trying to see the process of how Coach Dawson likes to call plays and what he likes to do, and then also him asking me kind of like what I like to do. So kind of just forming into that and getting into the offense, and it's been a good seamless transition.
And I think the interesting part about that, you're saying, you know, he's asking me what I like, we're learning this together, and you know, you're approaching this like a pro. It's a pre-pro year is essentially what this is for you. For those that don't think things are going to work because you're not Cam Ward and you do things differently, what do you bring to this offense? What will look different, and what do you think can be better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me as a quarterback, I believe that I'm really good at reading defenses. I'm really good at getting us into the right plays and just moving the ball down the field and scoring, controlling games, and then making the plays when I need to, right? I feel like I've always been really good on third downs, and that wins football games a lot of the times. You know, I think our defense has done a really good job just, you know, this far, day 5 of camp, and Coach Heatherman, what he's doing over there on that side of the ball. They got really good third down stuff. They got really good just run down stuff. So I'm really impressed with what they're doing. I think we'll have a really good defense this year. And then for me, it's just get the ball to the playmakers. I think that's what I do really well, is spreading the ball around the field, getting us in the right plays, and getting the ball to the guys that are going to go make the plays.
Carson, a year ago at this time, maybe you didn't think you'd have an extra year of college. The plan was probably to have a great season, go to the NFL draft. But now that you're here, what do you feel like you need to prove or show in this final season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it definitely wasn't a part of the plan. This was a very unforeseen part in my journey. But again, through everything that's happened, I'm very blessed, very thankful to have been given this opportunity and be here. For me, I don't think I really have anything to prove. Again, like, my biggest thing is I get the opportunity to come out and compete every single day, and I want to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, winning is fun. Competing is fun. Like, and all these guys behind me that, you know, we're out here working with every single day, they have the same mindset, the same mentality. Like, we want to come in, we want to win, we want to compete, and we want to do it now.
Carson, you talk about competing, winning, and your football IQ. Just walk me through the line of scrimmage. When you walk up there, if you see something, do you have the ability to adjust? Can you change the protection? Kind of your final form here. What does that look like, your process at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I'll try to go through it quick. I feel like there's a lot that happens at the line of scrimmage that you probably know. But, I mean, when I walk out of the huddle, I'm looking at the play clock, seeing how much time I have to work with. I'm looking at the safeties. What is the defense trying to do? Then I'm looking at the front. What are they in? What kind of pressures do they like to certain formations that we might run? We might have a motion. We might have already an alert where we have another play we're getting to based off of their look. Or I might see something that I've seen before and like, oh, wait, like this play worked against this look and just totally changed the whole entire thing. So I think Coach Dawson does a great job of kind of giving me the script of what is good against certain looks and kind of just helping me through that process. But also at the same time, he gives me the freedom to kind of just freestyle it sometimes, which I really love and appreciate.
So he looks at all those things, and then the ball snap, and then you adjust
gotta,
it.
It's easy. Anybody can
Do it all over again. Do it all over again.
Real quick, difference in the weather from Athens to Coral Gables?
Well, don't get me wrong. Athens is very hot.
Very.
Too.
It's hot.
Okay, the difference obviously is the humidity. I
Yeah.
sound like a dad right now, but no, I mean the humidity down here is crazy. But we get really good work in, and we're out there. We're out there in that heat.
Carson,
Yeah.
since you're the
All right,
dad.
Carson, we're so happy to have you in the ACC. Welcome and good luck the rest of the way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There's Carson's offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson, entering his 3rd season as the OC down here in Coral Gables, one of my favorite coordinators in all of the country. He's so much fun to talk to, and he's always transparent. So I want to ask you guys, Roddy, I'll start with you. How does Carson fit into what Shannon Dawson does offensively?
I think really well. Number one, because he's got so much experience.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the coordinators he played under at the University of Georgia. Todd Monken, NFL system, goes to the NFL. Mike Bobo comes in. He's been asked to do everything from a protection standpoint. He's been asked to master the run game. And so being in that league, you're going to see a ton from a secondary standpoint. Then secondly, he's just used to playing on time. You have to get the ball out on time. So you're not going to see as much off-schedule magic that we saw last year with Cam Ward, but you may see more on-schedule delivery and more of a point guard at the quarterback position with Carson Beck because he's got the arm talent, he's got the size, he's got the experience to be great.
Well, and that's what I think it's such a lazy take. People saying, well, how could he possibly fit the offense that Carson, how can he come in here and do what Cam Ward did a year ago? And he's not going to do that. And guess what? They don't want to do that either. That's risky business. That takes number 1 overall pick to do the things that Cam Ward was able to do. But he can do so much more. And as you just said there, Ronnie, on schedule and ownership, like football IQ, we're talking about a guy with a PhD. Like he's seen a lot. Those names that you just mentioned that were his offensive coordinators, that matters. And so now he comes in here and he has the keys to the car. And guess what? That car, it's a Ferrari. It's not an F-150 down in Athens,
Maybe
Georgia.
it's a Lamborghini.
It's a Lamborghini. And so when you look at that, his ability to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage, check into the right situation, that's a huge deal. Protection and play-wise, that's going to be significant and another step to this Shannon Dawson offense.
In watching him at practice today, did anything jump off the page?
Well, the arm strength is there.
Yeah.
Like
Which
there's
was a
of course,
concern coming off the
you
other
don't
one.
know.
Didn't throw in the spring.
Right, and just the leadership ability. It feels like it's his team. Now, that was a big personality that moved on. Again, number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward. But it seems seamless of everyone knows 11's the guy.
The other thing is, if he feels comfortable down here at Miami, Athens, Georgia is a fishbowl. You can't drive the fancy car. You honestly are a celebrity just as the quarterback.
24/7.
24/7. And he threw for 7,000 yards there and had the success. But this isn't a fishbowl quite the same way.
No.
You can go in Miami and be anonymous, and it feels like that style of life really fits him.
All right, so here's the thing. We know who the quarterback is, and it's Carson Beck. The wide receivers, they have a ton on their roster. Some of them, though, unproven because they lost a ton of talent last year. Their top 6 pass catchers. Here are some of the new names you're going to get to know. They've been on the roster, some of them, but will have increased roles. So, Andrea, I turn to you. What about this wide receiver room? What are you expecting?
Well, they obviously have to go out and do it because a lot of them are unproven coming in as transfers, and they're going to be relying on some freshmen. But in my conversations with Mario Cristobal, he was very clear about 2 things. Number 1, Keelan Marion gives them the type of deep threat that they have not had since Mario has been here. We saw that out at practice, a beautiful deep ball from Carson Beck to Keelan Marion. So he'll be able to stretch the field. And the second part of it is C.J. Daniels. This is a guy that I think a lot of people maybe aren't quite sure. He was, I think, number 4 at LSU, their number 4 receiver. He played on a hurt foot last year. And so the fact that he's now completely healthy, but also as the veteran in that group who's been around, Mario told me he had him as his number 1 receiver at a Liberty before he had transferred to LSU. So he's a guy who has come in and really commanded that room, brought some leadership that they've needed, have pushed the guys around him. So for me, those 2 guys are ones to keep an eye on, and then Malachi Toney, the true freshman.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Yeah.
The Miami fans, the Hurricane fans, love that name. And there's some high expectations. And listen, that's hard to do, but it seems like he's ready to take that step. Apparently, this dude stays here till like 11 p.m. They got to kick him out. Say, go sleep. We need you tomorrow. He's a football guy. He's a football IQ guy. And if you can get on the same page as Carson Beck and you're that security blanket, that Xavier Restrepo, maybe with a little more juice, that could be terrifying for the next couple of years.
And if you're looking at candidates to be that number 1 guy, certainly the 2 that you guys mentioned are up there, but JoJo Trader needs to be up there as well. Much ballyhooed freshman coming out of high school, showed flashes last year, particularly in the bowl game. He's got a skill set that could be the #1 receiver for Miami this year. And according to the coaches, put on weight. He looks like he's ready to take that step. So I'm excited to see exactly where JoJo Trader is once they kick off against Notre Dame.
Miami has an abundance of riches at wide receiver and tight end. It's just a matter of who's going to
we didn't
rise
talk
to
about
the top
Elijah Lofton.
this
Oh,
season.
yeah. They love
We
him.
could literally
Swiss
be
Army
here
knife.
all day. We have been here, feels like all day at this point, and we've been in on the action. Earlier today, this was us watching offensive line drills. Come on, boys, bring it.
How about Taylor not flinching
At all.
as the
I
sled
stand in
came
the
right
pocket.
toward her?
No fear.
Shannon Dawson,
Bro,
pick
my
me.
ankles look
We'll be
athletic.
back with
That's
more from
crazy.
Coral Gables as our road trip continues. Stay with us.
Athletic ankle.
I want to be at the top. You know, I can't stop for any other things other than the top. If I'm going to go against Michael Parsons right now, would I be able to cover him? And that type of like mentality that I have in my brain is like that pushes me to like put my all in all the workouts that we have.
Here comes the little murderer. Excuse me, little officer. Murderer. Oh, oh. Hey, fire, fire.
I lead by examples a lot, and I'm trying to be vocal as well, but at the same time, like, we want to be a competitive team, so we make practice competitive.
Hey, buddy, you outside, buddy.
And that sense of like competitiveness, like it helps us get to where we need to be, because now it makes practice fun.
I, for one, think he could take Micah Parsons.
Come on.
Easily. ESPN draft expert Matt Miller recently put out his latest 2026 early mock draft. Top 3 picks, all from the ACC. Kate Klubnik, CC Mauigoa, and Clemson's TJ Parker. Not too shabby. CC joining us now on set to talk a little ball. I actually want to start with your quarterback because we just had him on the show. What's it been like working with him this offseason and now heading into fall camp?
I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Talking about Carson Beck, that guy's always here. He's always humbled. You know, he never talked about his career at Georgia, but he's always grounded. I mean, I like working with him. It's an honor and a blessing to be able to block for him as well.
Come on, big dog. And I know you feel that, and I think your confidence just, it oozes out. And listen, we've been here since day one with you, right? We've seen you grow up as a man, as a leader. Right. Oh, no.
Oh, no, the camp cramp.
This is
Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Hey, can I just tell y'all something?
Good.
I had full body cramps almost every day of camp. I
you're
was
one of
the
those guys getting the
saltiest
IV.
sweater every time. So I'm with you there. But just your confidence, the way that you've grown as a man, as a player, from when you first walked on campus to where you are now, how's that journey been for you?
I mean, everything is a blessing. Coming in, I had a pastor, right? I'm a church boy, so he always talked to me. And one thing he told me is that, you know, there's a lot of lions on the field. And what you got to do is, even, like, look at David and Goliath, right? David looked at Goliath, he didn't see a big body because he knows God is bigger. And that's what brought me in. If I have someone like Michael Parsons line up in front of me, I'm going to look him in the eyes. I'm going to say, come, because I got God behind me, right? And that's been my mentality. But the journey has been awesome. I mean, it's a lot of high, lows, side to side, you know, normal journey. But, yeah, it's been awesome, and I'm glad to be here at the University of Miami.
This offensive line group looks to be one of the best in the country. Obviously, it's led by you. But what has that bond been like? Because you guys have played a lot of football together. Even a guy like Ryan Rodriguez, who was a starter for Florida last year, got hurt. It's been around. Like, there's been a lot of trials and tribulations you guys have gone through together. What is that group like?
There's a brotherhood. I mean, we talk about it every day. Me and Coop, talk about me and Coop. I mean, we've been playing for 3 years now. And that bond is something that, you know, we cherish. We don't have to talk on the line of scrimmage. That's what kept the defensive guys guessing. We don't even have to talk and we'll know what to do. We just look at each other, plan something, let's go. But the whole line, I mean, with Markel Bell coming back, Ryan Rodriguez, like you talked about, everybody is a great worker. I mean, everybody work hard, and that pushes me because I don't want anybody to outwork me. And yeah, it's been amazing.
I want to go back to something Roddy said, because I think we all believe this offensive line can be the best in the country. Do you agree with that, A? And then B, what will it take for this to be the #1 offensive line in
I
the country?
totally agree with that. One thing is, with Coach Mirabal and our background, I mean, he's an amazing leader, but we always have a standard. You know, if we're not competing to that standard, you know, it's going to be a terrible day in the meeting room. But, you know, it's not just being able to block for Carson Beck. Now we're moving forward to finishing downfield, to, you know, chase the ball every time. And that has been the standard now. And with that standard, I mean, shoot, we can accomplish everything.
Francis, what kind of privilege is it to have a guy like that, Mario Cristobal, as your head coach, and Coach Mirabal as well, that, you know, it's different coming from him, right? Like, he's the head guy, and he's over here, individual. He's moving the sled around. He's helping out. He's seen so many great things. He's developed so many great offensive linemen. What kind of privilege is that to obviously have Mirabal, but also to have Cristobal as well?
You talk about the head coach being an offensive line guy. He's been around. He's been pushing us. I mean, everything is now centered around. I feel like everything is centered around the offensive lineman. If the offensive linemen do bad, it's going to be an off.
It's a bad day. It's a bad day.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys see it out there. I mean, sometimes we'll call back because we're not running to the ball, right? And that's the culture. That's the standard now. And with Coach Cristobal, He don't want the O-line to, like, he wants the O-line to set the standard. So he don't want the O-line to be like the last person to line up, somebody that slack off. He's an O-line guy, and he wants the O-line to be the standard. You know, we're the ones who set the standard. We're the ones who set the tone of the offense.
Francis, I know you said you're the church guy. I feel like you just took us to church. We all learned a little something here today. Good luck this season, and that offensive line does really have a chance to be the best in the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to see what CC does this season and beyond, because something tells me he's going to have a very long and lucrative NFL career. Here's the projected starting lineup for Miami's offensive line this season. Markel Bell, which he's gigantic. Let me just say that. He's like 6'10". He's huge. Ryan Rodriguez, James Brockmeyer, the transfer center from TCU. And then you have Inez Cooper and CC over there as well. So combined, 76 starts in college. This is an experienced offensive line. So when you look at this line, because we've been up close and personal with them, what do you notice, C-Mac?
Well, first of all, the fact that you introduce Francis Mauigoa as just CC, he's arrived. He's arrived.
He's on a first
you're
name,
one of those
one name basis.
One name basis. You're a different animal, and that's what he is. I mean, this cat is flying around. He looks so physical, just strong. I mean, and he's been that for 3 years, but now the mental side of it, the why, understanding. He can look at coverages. He knows what he's going to get up front. You can see the personnel and know what you're going to get from a stunt and a blitz standpoint. And so that all needs to translate now. And that's why he's going to be a first-round draft pick, maybe a top 15 draft pick. And he's been that since he was born. But, really what I just loved right there was, seeing the transfer center come in. They're doing kind of second-level blocks. This guy's firing out like a running back. I mean, he's getting to the second level in a hurry. And so just to see that up close and personal, I always love coming to Miami because they put us right here where the offensive line is, and I get to see that the whole time. So it's fun for me. And this group, as advertised, we'll see a little bit later when the drills really start, the team drills. But, Roddy, they look the part.
They do, and you talk about all the starts, and what does that do for you? The most important thing about the offensive line, obviously technique is part of it, physical development is part of it, but 5 guys seeing everything from the same set of eyes, being on the same page when you get a certain front or a certain stunt, and that communication, both pre-snap and post-snap, the subtle things that happen during a play, to be on the same page, that's what you get with experience. You've got multiple guys with over 1,000 snaps in their career. And on that graphic, we didn't even have Samson Okunlola, who came in as a 5-star recruit with CC Mauigoa and has developed to the point where Mario Cristobal and this offensive staff really think he can take the next step. So from a depth standpoint, they're there as well. And I think this offensive line should be one of the best, not only in the ACC, but certainly the country.
And I think just to double down on that quickly with Sampson, not everybody runs the same race, right?
Yeah.
Like there's still development to be had.
Yeah.
We see it with quarterbacks in particularly, but offensive line too. Like it took time, and now he's a finished product, and when he gets his opportunities, he's going to do fantastic.
Well, it's also the chemistry that they're going to have up front. And yeah, they have a new center, but Miami has had transfer centers the last couple of years and has not missed a beat. And so when you've got guys who are playing together as one unit, you have the depth, and you have a head coach who has deliberately built this offensive line in his image to do the things that he wants them to do, dominate, then I think you have the makings of a championship caliber team.
And let's not forget about Alex Mirabal. I know he's like 5'4", but he's Mario Cristobal. Maybe, but he's Mario Cristobal's hand-picked offensive line coach. And when you have a Mario Cristobal picking an offensive line coach, you know that group is going to be in great hands. And he's done a tremendous job rebuilding this offensive line to the point where it is, where it's one of the best in the country. And look, we are close enough to get a first-hand look and hear the sound.
We're about to go run drills out there. Me and
you're
you
about
feeling
to
good.
go run drills.
You run right
I'm about
behind
to
me.
sit
You'll be
here and
okay.
watch you.
Yeah. Well, and just to go back to Coach Cristobal and the head coach, right? It means more when the head coach tells you something. There are very few places in the whole country where the head coach is here doing individual drill with the offensive line. That matters. That ownership that you feel as an offensive lineman with that guy right there, it's important. And again, that's why it's going to be a strength of this team.
Yeah, we just watched Mario Cristobal move the sled literally for the guys. Like he is in the drill. And oh, by the way, they have a pair of running backs in the backfield and a little bit more depth after that with Mark Fletcher Jr. and Jordan Lyle that I think should be pretty good this season, especially behind that offensive line. And we're going to be hitting the road, not just to go to all these camp tours, but of course on Saturdays with the ACC. We got a new format this year. We will be live from the biggest game of the week, Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon, right here on ACC Network.
Not too bad.
Oh yeah, we're heading to Death Valley, the real one in
the real
Clemson. You see a lot of the juice in here generated by their new defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman. He's a beast. We're going to talk more about him and the potential of this Canes defense next as our camp tour continues.
Roll, pin the knees. Pin the knees, violent. Violent gator roll. It's got to be violent. Little savvy today. Little pocket awareness today. Good through the hip. Violent tag, home run angle. Violent tag, get there.
We want to be aggressive. You know, we want to find the fit for our roster. You know, how does our roster fit into the scheme? How do we get our guys to play fast? You know, let our guys go out, attack, play fast, and an aggressive style of defense.
Violent roll, pin the knees. Pin the knees, violent gator roll. It's got to be violent. Here.
Defenses that I've been a part of that have been the most successful it's a group of guys that love playing together. They play for each other, and then they all love football. You know, it's guys that go out and they work every single day, and they love practicing. They love coming in and watching film. They're constantly interested in the whys and the hows. You know, those are the best teams, those guys that love football and continue to compete to get better every single day.
Welcome back to the Carroll Soffer Indoor Practice Facility. Fall camp continuing for the Canes. As you can see on this graphic, the secondary was a point of emphasis for the Hurricanes in the offseason. You see the names they acquired in the portal to try to bolster the back end of that defense. Also, kind of via the portal, bringing in a new defensive coordinator in Corey Heatherman. He was the DC at Minnesota. Now he's down here in Coral Gables. Why is he the right man for this job, as you've learned about Corey Heatherman and have watched him out here at practice today?
Well, I think the number one thing is his emphasis on communication and obsession with the football. And communication was probably the biggest thing for this defense last year that they struggled with, particularly with pre-snap shifts and motions.
Just getting lined up.
Getting your cleats in the ground was not great for Miami, and that's where it all starts. He has been a stickler about communication. That Minnesota defense was one of the tops in the country, top 10 in the country in takeaways last year. And so if you're able to communicate, get lined up with the talent he has and his emphasis that he has on getting the football, there's no reason this defense shouldn't take a big step forward this year.
And that's what you get so excited about. I think of Cam Ward a year ago where he he was doing unbelievable things. Well, now you put him with a bunch of other Ferraris. What does that look like? Coach Heatherman, you give him a bunch of weapons. What can he do with that? And you look at this defensive line, in particularly the front seven. They're going to be the strength, right? We know that. It's known commodities. There's some guys that are coming back that are finally healthy, that you feel comfortable. Ruben Bain, one of the best edge players in all of college football. But with all those names we just saw there, defensive backs, it's a competitive room. They don't know who's going to start. Guys are earning it every single day out here on Green Tree, and that's how it was back in the day when they were thriving.
I'm glad you mentioned back in the day, because one of the things that struck me when I talked to Mario Cristobal about the hire was that Corey Heatherman reminds me of Greg Schiano, who was the defensive coordinator here when Mario got his start as a GA. The intensity that he brings to the table, but also his ability to teach. And that's one of the things that Mario emphasized to me when we were talking about this, is that they've gone back to the basics in terms of what they are teaching these guys, because it wasn't just a lack of communication. There were also tackling issues with this team a year ago. And so for that reason, it feels like Corey Heatherman is the perfect fit for what they need right now.
Well, and I think what you said is a huge point. Like, you have to be able to line up. That's like baseline stuff. You have to get there. But then also, there's complexity in being simple as well, because you can show different things but do the same type of things. A lot like offense, we try to disguise and we move around, but it's the same play, and we'll do it over and over again. How can they do that with these weapons is what I can't wait to see.
Well, you talk about the weapons. Ultimately, it comes down to the Jimmies and the Joes. We've mentioned Ruben Bain up front, but Akeem Mesidor on the other side, who was tremendous a few years ago, missed the season 2 years ago with a knee injury. Now he's a year removed from that knee injury and looks to take the next step after being banged up last year. Talk about on the back end, O.J. Frederic, who as a true freshman was a freshman All-American. Big step to be taken there. And around him, obviously, they brought in a lot of talent. But then at the linebacker position, Wesley Basaint, who was a tremendous recruit, a big-time recruit from South Florida. Now he's in his 4th season here at Miami. I think they've got the right mix of new guys in, but experience and talent across the board at all 3 levels.
And one player to mention at linebacker is Mo Toure. He's a transfer from Rutgers. Mario Cristobal loves him. Greg Schiano, we just mentioned him. Yeah, that's who he played for at Rutgers.
Missed the season last year with an ACL, but was poised for a really big year at Rutgers a year ago, Andrew. That's a great one because he should be a physical presence at that linebacker.
Yeah, Miami has the pieces, no doubt about it, and now they have a defensive coordinator that is really bringing the juice, because we've seen it all day here at practice. All right, we've been experts, quote unquote, on the Miami Hurricanes. What about a guy who literally reports from inside Hurricanes? NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Llamas is going to join us on set to talk all things Canes. He's a big fan, Miami guy at heart. We'll be back with more from practice here in Coral Gables. Welcome back to the Gables right now, but just a few weeks away, we'll be in Miami Gardens for the kickoff of the Canes season. Sunday, August 31st, 7:30 on ABC against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a rivalry that goes back decades. For those of you that remember, one of the best rivalries in the late 80s. Last time they played in 17, Miami whooped the Golden Domers. Here's a look at the Canes' full schedule. Kind of a funny quirk. They don't leave the state until November. So we'll see how this one pans out for the Canes this upcoming season as they try to back up a 10-win season last year. And many of you already know our next guest. Miami native, NBC Nightly News anchor Tom Llamas is a literal Miami Hurricanes fan. He covers them like the literal Hurricanes, but also the football team he loves. Grew up on it. There's his son Tomas going to games over there at Hard Rock Stadium, passing down the love for the game and for the Canes. And he joins us now on set because he's here at practice in Coral Gables. So happy you're joining us. This has to be cool for you just as a Canes fan to be in this building.
For all my life, as far back as I can remember, it's always been all about the U. And to be here now with you guys, I mean, this is such a special moment for me. I was just watching the Canes practice. They look great. Monsters out there. That offensive line looking bigger than ever.
Come on.
So I'm looking forward to this season and looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah.
Tom, we were just talking about the feeling of the U being back, and it's been so close so many times. It feels like this team could take that step. When you look at this team and the pressure or the expectations that are on them, How does it make you feel as a fan?
You know, every year we hope this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year that we come back. And I've talked to my wife and my kids about this because when I grew up in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s, the Canes were the best team in football. I mean, so much tradition. A tradition and a legacy of excellence. And then it's been tough. It's been a rough, tough 20, 25 years, you know? But every season we hope for it. We have a great quarterback. I was just watching him warm up, number 11, and he looks like he's ready. He's back from his injury. He's got some big shoes to fill. I think Cam Ward surprised the entire country. I think he's going to be a huge player in the NFL. And he won so many games for us, as you guys know, in those last seconds. And that's what it took. And so Beck's going to have to step up, and he's going to have to do that. I think we have some interesting receivers. And I think we have a lot of players that are going to sort of impress but also surprise people because the bar's always high at the U.
Yep.
Talking about big shoes to fill, how about you, man? What an opportunity.
Wow.
And what you're doing now, and you talk about preparation, you talk about the brand and what it means. I mean, you're one of a few on every night, and the pressure that builds. We were talking off air here, just how it's been for you. You said it's 100% more.
Yeah.
How are you handling it? How's the family handling it?
Yeah.
And what an opportunity.
Thankfully, I have a great wife. She actually worked in news, so she understands the pressures and the demands. And my kids have always known me to be a network correspondent or anchor, so they've always known me to jump on a plane. Sometimes it's in the middle of a Little League game or a flag football game, and you got to run out. So that pressure is there, but pressure is a privilege, and it's an honor to be the anchor of nightly news. I believe it's America's broadcast at night. It's the best of NBC News at night. And just like the Canes were a winning team, and they were a team that always showed almost perfection. Sometimes they were perfect. And so with Nightly News, I just want to make sure we give our viewers the best every night. We work for our viewers, and I think a good newscast informs, it empowers, and it inspires. And we hope to do that every night.
And you have a mom and dad that just love him.
They love you.
We love them.
absolutely love you. They watch you every night. But as someone who grew up in South Florida, also going to Canes games, what is your greatest memory of going to games in the Orange Bowl?
You know, I loved it. We sat in the upper deck, but 50-yard line, and we would tailgate in the Orange Bowl. And back then, you could play football. So we would play football, like pick up football in the parking lot as we're tailgating, eating those public subs, eating those public drummies. Like, they were so good. And then we'd go into the stadium, and the stadium was so loud in the Orange Bowl, it would shake. It would shake. And we had guys that were just like wild men that were behind us. I remember there were sort of guys that were just starting out their families. I was with my dad and my brother, and they would wear wristbands, and they were all orange out. They would just be screaming, and it was so great. And to watch those teams win championships, I can remember as a little boy watching games, and if they lost, it was like the entire weekend was over. I can actually remember a flight. We were one time on a flight back from Colorado, and the Canes were so popular, the pilot was reading back the score as the plane was landing. It was like, it was such a great time, and the Canes had so many players that went to the NFL, so you could keep watching them and supporting them.
Speaking of some of those NFL players, we have a game to play quickly.
Okay.
Start bench cut with some greats from the 80s and 90s.
Start bench cut.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And
This is
listen,
gonna be
for everybody
tough.
at home, there's no right answer. So get off his
But
back
there are
for what he
wrong
picked.
answers. There are wrong
Quarterbacks: Heisman winner Vinny Testaverde.
Oh, this is tough.
Gino Torretta, and national champion Ken Dorsey.
And this is college, right? This is college. Okay, so we're gonna say college. Okay, so listen, I didn't watch Vinny play, so cut immediately. I saw Gino play. I saw him win the Heisman. I used to remember him throwing those passes. I'm gonna put him on the bench. I'm gonna start Ken Dorsey. He won those national championships.
That is the right answer.
And you know what? And he is owed more than the national championships he won. He was owed probably a few more. And you guys know what I'm talking about.
Ohio State.
It's a good list. That's a right
was a good
list.
one.
That's a right
I don't
list.
know. I think I might put the Heisman winners.
I'll give you guys a
He
quick.
lost the Fiesta Bowl, Roddy.
Look,
Do that.
the
want
greatest
winners,
individual,
Roddy.
the greatest individual award in all of sports. But yeah, we'll cut you.
Roddy, I'm gonna give you a quick story real quick. I was in Ohio. We were at our Columbus station, and they're like, "Hey, we want to go to Ohio State. We want to do this thing with you." And they said, "Do you like Ohio State football?" And I said, "Listen, I love Columbus, love Ohio. I do not like Ohio State football. I will not lie. I'm sorry. Not a fan of
Respectfully,
OSU.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the other side of the ball with some all-time greats?
Let me
Start
see.
bench cut.
Here we go.
Ray Lewis, Warren Sapp, and Ed Reed.
This is tough.
This is impossible.
No, you start all
this
three
is
of those.
impossible. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do here. This is tough. And again, this is nothing personal.
And they're all different.
Yeah, they're all very different.
What do you do?
I grew up watching Warren Sapp. Pretty sure he won the Outlander Award. It was so amazing. He was an amazing player. I'm gonna cut Warren Sapp. I'm gonna bench Ray Lewis.
Yes.
And let me tell you, Ray Lewis was incredible. I remember when Ray Lewis beat out Rohan Marley for that linebacker job. That was like devastating, but he was so great. But Ed Reed And I will say this: Ed Reed may be one of the greatest players in football ever. I mean, Ed Reed, such a great player. That was a tough one. I loved all three of them.
I'm sorry. Okay, those are the two we have time for.
Okay.
Please be easy on him.
Please,
for all the things you talk about on nightly news, that might be the most controversial that's going to be out there.
That was tough.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank
good
you
luck
so
to your
much.
Canes this season. Right?
Oh my gosh, please, we're
all
going to
about
win
you.
it all.
Come
on,
there we go. All right, we're wrapping it up here in Coral Gables because the bus, I guess it's really the plane, is going to take off to Syracuse, New York.
Oh, I can't wait to ride that
Emacs
bus
going
all the way up there.
to Central New York
Super
to talk
excited.
about Fran Brown's Orange. And we'll see, can they back up a great year one under him with an even better year two? I know you'll talk schedule and what it all entails, but our ACC football road trip continues with a trip up north. It's been a pleasure to be down here in Coral Gables. For Andrea, Tom, Emac, Roddy, I'm Taylor. You gotta send it off though with this.
Let's go.
Hi, Diane from our coach, Mark Riggs. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you later.